Hi, it's Dreyer and welcome to another episode of the Wealth Insights. I'd like to ask you a question that maybe can change your life. What's the difference between this and that plant? What if I'm telling you that both these plants are the same plants, both are palm trees or Cocos plumosas, and what if I'm telling you that they are exactly the same age? So what's the difference? Well, the difference is obvious, but let's check it out quickly. If I'm going to take a piece of rope and I'm going to tie it over this one, so to give you a visual demonstration, this is basically the representation of this plant. Now, if we're going to measure this plant, you're going to find there's a different angle to exactly the same plant. So in terms of difference, we're going to find, if we can measure it in a, let's call it in a straight line, this is the size of that plant and this is the size of this plant. Now in life I see that a lot of people, they grow up to a certain level and then they literally get stuck for some reason or the other, and there are thousands of reasons. They simply do not take it to the next level. I see it in business, I see it in investment, I see it in relationships. And unless we're going to learn how to grow yourselves and ourselves from this level to this level, we will never be able to live to our full potential and to become the best that we can be. So this whole story, and I'd like to tell you the story and see what lessons we can learn from this story. So I'd like you to follow me to see where this plant actually comes from, and we'll take it from there. So okay, where did it actually start? I bought this property, and when I bought this property, there were 13 of these big Cocos plumosa trees with seeds. And the first year I didn't pay any attention, the second year and the third year. But then one year I said to my garden engineer, I said to him, you know, each and every time we have to pick up all these seeds, why don't we go and plant them? My garden engineer said to me, no ways, they will not grow. So I said to him, Matthew, but how do you know that? He said, no, the previous owner actually tried it. So I, to a certain extent, inherited him from the previous owner. And Matthew said to me, it's not going to grow. And I said to him, why not? He said, well, it's not growing. They've tried it. And I said, but who tried it? He said, no, the previous owner. I said, did she actually planted the seed? He said, no, he did it. I said, and did you water it? Yeah, he did water it. And I said, and what happened? And he said to me, well, nothing. It's not going to grow. So I looked at this and I picked up something. And what I picked up is the following. Let me show you. If I look at these seeds, you'll find that I can actually see some small palm trees coming out. Right. So my logic told me that if that's the case, then there has to be a way to grow these palms. Now, I've never grown palms ever in my life, but I thought there has to be a way, and I'm going to find out. Now, what's the Wealth Insights lesson that I want to share with you? You see, you're going to get to people, and they're going to tell you something is not possible. If you're going to believe them, you're going to miss out on great and wonderful opportunities in life. And unfortunately, you'll find that sometimes it's the people that are closest to you that's going to tell you, but something is not possible. So I decided, listen, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. I had all the time in the world. I'm going to plant this. I got myself a garden fork and a shovel, and I started preparing a place to start planting these seeds. Now, there are 13 of these trees, and there's about 5,000 seeds in one, let's call it a cluster. I'm not sure what to call it, but it's a cluster. So I started collecting that, and over a period of about a year, I planted actually more than 65,000 of these seeds. But in the first week, I would plant it and then start watering it. Matthew came to me and he said to me, but what's it that you're doing? I said, I'm going to grow palm trees. And he said, but it's not possible because he tried it before and it's not going to work. And I said, well, Matthew, I failed my matric. I'm not sure I'm going to give it a try. About 3 weeks later, again, Matthew rocked up. He said to me, you're wasting your time. I said, well, It's my time, I've got absolutely nothing else to do, and at least I'm enjoying it. And then about 4 weeks later, I could literally see that these things were starting to grow. And like within 2 months, there were like hundreds, if not thousands of them. And one day I called Matthew and I said to him, Matthew, come and have a look here. He said to me, no, he saw it. He said, oak, but now he doesn't know what's going on. So that was phase 1. So from phase 1, I then at a certain point, there were like 12,000 of these little plants. I've planted like 65,000 seeds, but only 12,000 came out. And immediately that caused a problem, because now I had to remove them out of the ground, put them in containers or plastic bags. We started with Aussie, which is about, I would say, 10 to 12 liter bag. We planted them in that, and I can promise you that takes a lot of time. So I started getting help in terms of the other people that were working for me, and about a year later, we replanted them into about 25 liter, 20 liter, 25 liter containers, bags. So let me go and show you how that looks. So in 2007, the majority of these palms were exactly the same size as the one that I showed you. Of course, this is the same string that I've got. And in 2007 also something else happened. In 2007 I started looking at the internet from a marketing point of view and started the internet marketing business. And I wanted to understand how the heck the internet is working. So it took me about 6 to 7 months only to realize that you have to apply exactly the same principles, the wealth creator strategy and the formula for riches, because unless you're going to do that, there's no ways that the internet or any business will work. So during that time in November, and I specifically remember this, in November we started planting 500 of these trees in the garden, in the open area. And that is the difference that we see. So unfortunately the majority of plants, I got busy during that time and I couldn't replant them. We ran into a problem, as you can see, in terms of space. But in 2007, when I started that internet business, it was approximately November. During that time, on the first day that I launched that business, learntoinvestmoney.com, and I can give you the URL of that website because it's still running, I literally made a return on investment of 1,475%, if I remember correctly. Within a week, that return on investment was something like 2,400% plus, and a year later, exactly a year later, on the 3rd of November, I started the second business. Now, during that year, of course, I improved my skills. I ran through the different levels in terms of the business. I applied the formula for riches, and on the day that I launched that business, Warriors Against Debt, which is another business, the return on investment, the total return on investment for that year has been more than 470%. Now immediately there's another lesson into this thing. The moment that you're going to tell people, listen, I can get 1,000% growth on my money, they will tell you it is not possible. Just like Matthew said to me, it is not possible to grow palm trees. And then when you prove it to them, they're going to find something more. You know, there's always excuses, and we come with excuses. But I think this is a typical example to show you. If we look at these palm trees, and I would be one of these palm trees, and I look around me, I would say flip it, but I'm not doing too bad, because I mean, I'm as big as all these palm trees. It's only until I start comparing myself with others that I can actually see the difference. And in life, this is the way that it works. You know, we get comfortable with the situation that we get comfortable with our investments, and we think this is the way that it should be. So these palm trees, they think this is the way that it should be, and for them it's the right way. But is it the right way? Now that you know the story, I think you will appreciate it so much more to see how life really works. So we basically come full circle, and we're right where we started off. What's the difference between the two plants? This plant, in 2007, I replanted it. In other words, we prepared the soil and we planted this This plant we only planted like a year ago, and it's the same plant that we basically started with. And I thought it's appropriate to show you that in life, unless you're prepared to go through the different levels, unless you're prepared to grow, unless you're prepared to learn new stuff and to try new things, you're going to stagnate. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this plant. This is actually a beautiful plant. But this plant hasn't reached its full potential, or it's not nearly the size of this one. So if we look at return on investment, we're going to find that this plant is going to give us a far better rate of return than this plant. And in life, this is the way that it works. Unless we're going to start something new. I started a new business, learned a new industry, basically at the age of 50. Today I'm almost 55. But today we've started so many new businesses. You know, in 2008, towards the end of 2008, the beginning of 2009, a person challenged me by the name of Leon van Reesburg, and he said, well, it is not possible. So I took him on as a student, coached him, and literally from when we started off, within a very short period of time, I think it was approximately a month, 2 months, we turned his business around. It's called Build a Web, build-a-web.com. We turned that little business around. Because of that business, it took us another 3 months to go to the next level, and he literally started a business in a day, and he created something like 639,000 Rand. From then, we move onwards. Leon wasn't prepared to stagnate and to remain the same. So now that he started to understand that you have to invest in yourself and that you have to learn, he said, okay, I'm willing. Whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. So we started preparing for the next business. The next business, more than 900,000 on the launch day. So what am I trying to tell you, and what do I... First of all, don't let other people tell you what you can and what you can't do. Don't let them tell you what is possible and what is not possible, because if we're going to listen to them, nothing is going to be possible. The next thing, the moment that we start talking in terms of a business, don't let someone tell you that you can't start a business with no money, first of all. Secondly, don't let anyone tell you that you can't get 100, 200, 500, 1,000%, 400,000% on your initial investment. Because the moment that you're going to listen to them, you will not reach your full potential. You will not become the best that you can be. And your duty, your duty towards yourself and towards your family is to become the best person that you can be. That's why we want to become wealth creators. And a wealth creator knows how to create, preserve and enjoy their wealth. And that's our duty, to become absolutely the best that we can be. Now, I really and truly want to help you. And the way that I want to do it is, there's one of two ways. I'm going to have a webinar, and on the webinar I'm going to explain to you how to start a business by applying the formula for financial freedom. And I'm going to explain to you how this formula works, because the principles that I showed and shared today with you is exactly the same principles, but there's a sequencing, and you have to understand that sequence. So I'd like you to come and listen to that webinar, and I can almost guarantee you that this little webinar will change your life. I'm going to take practical examples. For example, how I started at the age of 8, my first investment. You know, I didn't know anything about investment at the age of 8. No one does at 8. Without knowing it, I actually started a business and I got 1,000% return on my first investment in less than 2 months. Now, that's ridiculous if you really think about it. And if you go to a portfolio manager or someone in shares, they're going to tell you, but things like this is not true. It cannot happen. Well, it happened with me at the age of 8, and I'm going to share that story with you. Okay, I'm also going to share with you how I started my first business at the age of 10 with no money. I literally had no money, but we started a serious business. And I want to use that as an example, because nowadays when I tell people that we're starting businesses with no money and we're using the formula for riches and the formula for wealth creation and the wealth creator strategy, people think, wow, it's rocket science. It's not. It's the same principles that we apply in investments, it's the same principles that we apply in business. And I'm going to use the time that I'm going to spend with you by showing you how simple the financial freedom formula actually is and how easy it is for you to be able to implement it. But then I've also got a workshop, so that is basically, let's call it a certain extent, a teaser to go to the workshop. And I promise you that you're going to learn quite a lot during that webinar. And some people will be able to afford the seminar and others will not. So those of you that cannot afford to go to the course, that's why I'm going to have the webinar simply, and I'm going to make it for free. So don't worry about the price. But then there may be people that say, but I actually want to spend more time with you. I want to learn how to start a business with no money. And then once I've got the business, how can I take this business literally to the next level? In other words, from a level 1 to a level 2, and maybe make a couple of millions. We've started several businesses over the last year, and quite a few of those businesses are today multi-million rand businesses. And during this one-day seminar, I'm going to share with you what we've done, how we've done it, and literally the formula, the steps that we followed. You know, there are 7 steps that you need to take even before you start a business, and that is actually where we're going to start. And then I'm going to dive into the 7 profit drivers, and during that seminar I'm going to give you at least 3 ways in each and every one of these profit drivers that you can start that is not going to cost you a cent in order to increase the profits. So it's going to be a fabulous seminar that I'm going to do that day, and I want to invite you. If you think that you can get value, I promise that I'm going to add so much value that you won't believe it. And of course there's going to be a money back guarantee, and I'm going to give you the link right at the bottom, so if you want to book, you're more than welcome to do so. So let's quickly summarize. Today in this Wealth Insights, the first thing that I wanted you to know is that don't let others tell you what is possible, what is not possible. Secondly, it becomes your duty to become the best that you can be. The only way to do that is to strain your potential, to learn new stuff, and to become the best that you possibly can be in terms of what you do. And there are 2 ways to go about financially. The one is to learn how to get 1,000% or 100% or 500,000% growth on your investment. The second way to start it is to start a business. There's no other way. You can either follow the investment route or the business route. The business route has got a lot more risk than the investment route, and therefore it's going to take a little bit more time and a lot more skills that you have to learn. I'm prepared to teach that to you on condition that you're willing to learn. So I hope to see you at least at the webinar. I'm going to give you a link just below this video where you can get both the webinar and book your seat there, as well as for the course. I hope to see you there. Thank you.